A powerful sandstorm has hit the Hormozgan Province in southern Iran, causing a series of traffic accidents and significant disruption in the region. Strong winds and thick dust have significantly reduced visibility on the roads, causing numerous accidents. According to local media, the areas around the city of Bandar Abbas were the worst hit. Several people were injured in the accidents to varying degrees. Local authorities have urged residents to refrain from traveling and stay indoors until the weather improves. According to the Iranian Ministry of Health, more than 20,000 traffic fatalities occur in the country every year, with a significant number of them caused by adverse weather conditions such as sandstorms. Experts warn that climate change could lead to an increase in such extreme weather events in the region. Torrential rains have caused devastating flooding in the Kermanshah Province in western Iran. The disaster has caused significant damage to infrastructure and agriculture in the region. The village of Darbdare in the Sar Firuzabad district was particularly hard hit. Strong torrential waters destroyed at least 10 houses, damaged dozens of others, and killed more than 200 livestock, including sheep and cattle. In addition, agricultural machinery and residents' personal vehicles were damaged. The flooding also damaged water and electrical networks, leaving residents without access to drinking water and electricity. Local authorities and rescue services have quickly begun to eliminate the consequences. They are clearing debris and delivering necessary supplies to affected families. However, forecasters warn of possible further rainfall in the coming days, which increases the risk of repeated flooding. According to the Iranian Red Crescent, floods have affected at least 11 provinces of the country, including Gilan, Elam, and Khuzestan. In some areas, bridges have been destroyed and roads blocked, complicating rescue operations and the delivery of aid. Experts note that climate change is contributing to the increase in such extreme weather events in the region. Last night, residents of Europe, Western Russia, and Belarus witnessed an unusual phenomenon. A bright, glowing spiral resembling a galaxy appeared in the sky. Reports of sightings came from various cities, including Moscow, St. Petersburg, Kaliningrad, Rostov-on-Don, and Krasnodar. Experts explain that this phenomenon is associated with the launch of the Falcon 9 rocket of SpaceX, which took place on March 24th from the Cape Canaveral Cosmodrome in Florida. After the separation of the second stage of the rocket, its exhaust gases froze in the upper atmosphere, forming a glowing spiral that reflects sunlight. Similar phenomena have been observed previously during SpaceX rocket launches, but their appearance over Europe and Russia is rare, which has caused increased interest among residents of these regions. Experts emphasize that such glowing spirals do not pose a danger and are a predictable result of the operation of rocket engines under certain conditions. In the last days of March 2025, Kamchatka faced a powerful snow cyclone, which brought heavy precipitation and caused significant inconvenience to residents of the region. The snow cover reached a height comparable to the height of an adult, which led to difficulties in movement and blocking the entrances to houses. Videos appeared on social networks, which captured how residents, unable to exit through the doors, climb out of the windows of their houses with shovels to clear the paths and free the exits. The footage shows that the snow completely covered cars and significantly impeded traffic on the roads. Local authorities and public utilities are making every effort to eliminate the consequences of the disaster, but the volume of snowfall significantly complicates the work. Residents are advised to exercise caution, refrain from long trips, and if possible, stay home until the weather conditions improve. Despite the difficulties, Kamchatka residents are showing resilience and finding ways to cope with the situation, demonstrating unity and mutual assistance in the fight against the vagaries of nature. Last night, El Tarter, one of the largest ski resorts in Andorra, experienced heavy snowfall. According to meteorologists, more than 23 centimeters of fresh snow fell in the region in 24 hours, which significantly improved the conditions for skiing on the mountain slopes. Thanks to the recent snowfall, El Tarter and other areas of the Gran Valira resort now have excellent conditions for winter sports enthusiasts. The snow cover in some places exceeds 2 meters, which ensures comfortable skiing throughout the day. Experts predict that due to additional precipitation and cold temperatures, the ski season in Andorra will last at least until April 20th. This is especially true for those planning a vacation during the Easter holidays, because the demand for tours to the region has increased significantly. However, along with the joy of fresh snow comes some risks. Experts warn that in the high mountain areas of Andorra, the avalanche danger remains high, especially on slopes not equipped for skiing. One of Japan's most active volcanoes, Sakurajima, located on the island of Kyushu in Kagoshima Prefecture, erupted today. As a result of the eruption, the volcano threw out a thick column of ash to a height of 1,600 meters. The Japan Meteorological Agency has raised the danger level to 3 on a 5-point scale, which means a ban on approaching the volcano closer than a few kilometers. Authorities are calling on local residents and tourists to exercise caution and monitor official reports on further developments. At the moment, there are no reports of casualties or significant damage. Sakurajima is known for its activity and frequent eruptions, so such events are constantly monitored by specialists. Anyone near the eruption area is advised to take precautions and follow local authorities' instructions. The Achumani neighborhood of La Paz, Bolivia, was hit by a 45-minute hailstorm that caused significant impacts. Hailstones up to 3 centimeters in diameter damaged homes and flooded streets. The neighborhoods affected by the storm include San Antonio, Irpawi, and Achumani. La Paz Mayor Ivan Arias urged residents to be vigilant due to ongoing adverse weather conditions. The city's drainage system was unable to cope with the volume of rainfall, causing the Huaynahuayra River to overflow its banks and flood streets. Authorities were forced to temporarily close Costanera Avenue due to dangerous conditions. Local authorities are working urgently to clean up the aftermath of the hailstorm, clearing streets and restoring damaged infrastructure. Residents are advised to exercise caution and monitor local authorities for updates. One of the most active volcanoes in the country, Popocatépetl, has awakened in Mexico. The volcano has emitted ash and gases into the atmosphere, raising the alert level to the 3rd phase of yellow. Puebla state authorities have canceled school classes and advised residents to reduce their time outdoors, use masks, and close windows in their homes. Mexico City airports have temporarily suspended operations due to ash fallout, causing flight delays. The National Disaster Prevention Center warns of the need to maintain a safe distance of 12 kilometers from the volcano's crater. Local authorities are conducting outreach work with the population and preparing temporary shelters in case the situation worsens. Popocatépetl, the 2nd largest and most active volcano in the country, rises 5,400 meters above sea level and is one of the symbols of Mexico. Its name is translated from the Aztec language as Smoking Mountain. Massive forest fires continue to rage across the southeastern regions of South Korea. According to the latest figures, the death toll has reached 18 people, while more than 19 were injured. One of the worst-hit areas was the city of Lisong, where the fire destroyed more than 200 buildings, including the 1,300-year-old Gamsa Buddhist temple. The fires began on March 21st and quickly spread due to strong winds and dry conditions. Authorities evacuated about 27,000 residents and more than 5,000 people, and about 130 helicopters were mobilized to fight the fires. The fires are believed to have been started by human factors, such as the use of fire to clear grass and sparks from welding. The situation is complicated by predicted dry conditions, which could contribute to the further spread of the fires. Acting President Han Deok-soo promised to deploy additional resources to fight the fires and called on citizens to be vigilant. We want to tell you about a terrible incident that shook South Korea. It happened in the Gangdong-gu district in the east of Seoul. Imagine, evening rush hour, cars are driving one after another, and suddenly, the asphalt disappears under your feet. A giant hole, 20 meters wide and the same deep, opened up right at the intersection. A 34-year-old motorcyclist, who was only called by his last name Park, was driving home when the road literally swallowed him. The video from the camera of the car in front went viral. A white van miraculously jumped out of the hole, but the motorcycle and the driver disappeared into the abyss. The sight gave you goosebumps. Rescuers rushed to help immediately. They worked non-stop for 17 hours, in wet mud, among debris and construction waste. They had to pump water out of the broken pipes and dig to get to the man. They used excavators, shovels, and even a rescue dog. First they found a phone, then a motorcycle, Japanese, all mangled, and in the morning Pak's body. He was found 50 meters from the center of the hole, at a depth of almost a meter. He was wearing a helmet and boots, but alas, he was no longer breathing. Doctors diagnosed cardiac arrest. City services immediately cordoned off the area. The road was blocked, and 4 schools nearby were closed due to a safety threat. People are in shock. Someone says that they saw cracks in the road in the morning, but no one expected this. The collapse happened near the place where a new metro line is being built. The authorities have already suspended work and launched an investigation. Maybe the construction is to blame? Or did the old pipes under the road burst? So far, there are more questions than answers. The police are making sure that onlookers do not go near the hole. It is still dangerous. Seoul Mayor Oh Se-hoon personally visited the scene and promised to look into it so that it would not happen again. After all, there have been more than 200 sinkholes in Seoul over the past 10 years. But this case is one of the most terrible. Residents are filming videos, posting them online, and wondering, what next? This tragedy is a reminder of how fragile is what we stand on. Rescuers did everything they could, but nature and human error were stronger. A severe hailstorm left devastating consequences in the Alhaurín El Grande area in the province of Malaga. Unstable weather conditions were observed in the south of Spain on this day. Rain, sometimes turning into hail, accompanied by cold gusts of wind, affected many settlements, but it had the greatest impact on Alhaurín El Grande. The hail was not just large, it resembled small stones falling from the sky. For local residents, this was a real shock, as the region had not seen such a natural phenomenon on this scale for several years. In many rural areas, plants were damaged. Large parts of the harvest were destroyed. Hail pierced tree leaves, broke shoots, and damaged fruit crops. This is not only a threat to the region's economy, but also a tragedy for local farmers who have worked in their fields for years. The streets of the city were covered in an icy crust, and the roofs of buildings and cars were damaged. Some cars were significantly dented, and some windows were knocked out. All this forced local authorities to take urgent measures to eliminate the consequences of the disaster. Local emergency services and authorities acted quickly, setting up aid stations for those affected, and began restoration work. In particular, equipment was sent to clear roads of ice debris and restore damaged infrastructure. Local authorities and emergency services have already begun active cleaning of areas and restoration of damaged facilities. Teams are working to restore normal traffic as soon as possible and make life easier for local residents. The city of Abha, located in the province of Asir in southwestern Saudi Arabia, experienced heavy rains accompanied by hail, which caused a number of serious consequences for local residents. Rain and hail hit the region amid unstable weather conditions, creating dangerous conditions for movement in everyday life. These precipitations led to flooding of valleys and ravines, which significantly disrupted traffic and caused serious problems on the roads. In some places, partial collapse of infrastructure was recorded. Roofs of buildings were damaged, and damage to transport was also observed. The areas where the hail was especially intense were the most affected. Local residents report damage to cars, destroyed buildings, and difficulties in moving through flooded areas. Torrential rains, which continued for several hours, created a real threat to agricultural land. For farmers who had already begun preparing for the new season, this was a real blow. Local authorities and emergency services responded quickly to the incident, sending mobile teams to assess the damage, help the victims, and clear the roads. In some areas, people were evacuated from the most affected areas, and food and medicine were supplied to remote areas. Restoration work to eliminate the consequences of flooding and damage to infrastructure began immediately after the elements began to subside. The situation in Trigon, a municipality in the Araucanía region of southern Chile, remains tense due to ongoing wildfires. According to local authorities, one of these fires has forced the evacuation of around 2,000 people and destroyed an area of 1,190 hectares. The Araucanía wildfires have already destroyed 33,406 hectares of land, affecting more than 860,000 people. According to preliminary police data, many of the fires may have been caused by arson. Since the beginning of the year, 60 suspects have been detained in one of the areas. In response to the situation, authorities have imposed a curfew in the central and southern parts of the country to ensure the safety of citizens and effectively fight the fires. In this regard, local residents and travelers are advised to monitor updates from official sources, follow the instructions of emergency services, and avoid traveling to the affected areas until the situation stabilizes. Our thoughts are with the victims, and we hope for a speedy return to normal life in the region.